The following is a paid program by the Whitley Law Firm. Welcome to Attorneys on Call, the program that gives you free legal information from the Whitley Law Firm. Now, here's your host, Drew Smith.
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today. Let me ask you a question. If you were seriously injured in a car accident or hurt on the job, what would you do? Would you turn on the TV and call that 800 number because that actor is advertising for a law firm out of California that says they can help you? Of course you wouldn't. You would go to a local law firm like the Whitley Law Firm that's been representing people here in North Carolina for more than 40 years. The firm was founded back in the mid-70s. That's what they do. They represent people like you and me, seriously injured on the job, seriously hurt in a car accident. That's what they do. So the next half hour, we're just going to have a conversation. We're going to talk a lot about what you need to know if you've been hurt on the job or in a car accident. And so joining us in studio, Matthew Bissette and Ben Whitley from the Whitley Law Firm. Guys, great to be with you today.
Yeah, good to be here. Sure.
Ben, your dad started this firm.
Right.
It's a North Carolina firm.
Right.
Born and bred right here, and that's what you do. And so I know that, I mentioned that because I don't think you can go 24 hours without watching TV and you see one of these mega firms with an 800 number. There's probably somewhere in California advertising.
Yeah, well, and they're not even real lawyers. They're usually actors, and sometimes you see them. They'll say they have their clients. They're actors too, and they're screaming about what checks they've gotten in it. Yeah, and if you ever go down to Florida, it's even worse.
Oh yeah.
But so anyway, yeah, and I'll tell you. Well, I'll tell you what we're really about. My dad started the firm, like you said, back in the 70s, and he did so in Kinston, which is a small town where I grew up, but back east. And he did a little bit of everything. And I think back then there really wasn't concentrations or specializations in practice. Lawyers just kind of did a little bit of everything, where it's a criminal case, a divorce case, and a personal injury case. But he just got real successful and got so many great results in the personal injury cases. That's kind of how it developed. But what we try to do is offer kind of that small town customer service, the way that our clients interact with us, and that they get to speak to an attorney, that they get cared for, that they're not lost in a number of the mega firms. But that we are able, though, to use infrastructure of being large to move folks' cases quicker through a process.
Okay, sure.
Because that's usually what they want. We're able to litigate or battle whatever pharmaceutical company we need to, or insurance company, because of the growth and the success that we've had. So we were able to bring what I think of that small town customer service type behavior for a lawyer, but with being able to be backing it up with the guns necessary to fight whatever fight we need to fight. And sometimes people don't want to fight.
Yeah. Right.
I think that's a common misconception. A lot of times people call a law firm and they think they're going to file a lawsuit, and some folks aren't. I've heard it all the time. They aren't the suing type.
Right.
I hear that a lot from my folks back in the eastern part of the state.
Right.
I'm not the suing type. But a lot of times we are able to help folks with their case, with their claim, and we don't have to file a lawsuit.
Right.
And it's because my dad filed a lot of lawsuits back in the day, and they know that we're serious, and so it's given us a reputation. That's one of the Whitley advantages that we talk about. And so we handle the types of cases most personal injury law firms do that you can think of, the car accident cases, workers' compensation cases, Social Security disability. We also handle, claims where folks have had property damage issues, and as North Carolina being where we are, kind of the catcher's glove of hurricanes.
Right, oh yeah.
We handle claims where people have disputes with their homeowner's insurance, and that doesn't have to necessarily be just the windstorms and hurricanes, but if fires or anything else. So we're standing up for folks and taking their battles for them. And we've got this very unique way of how we're paid.
Yeah.
We don't have to be paid a retainer up front. I know that's a lot of the concern. People won't call a lawyer if something bad's happened to them because they're worried they can't afford it, especially now. When finances are always tight, but thinking, if they've been in an accident, they're in the hospital, last thing they can afford is a lawyer.
Right.
But that's a misconception. Phone call's free, and our fees are all contingency, which is just a fancy lawyer word for saying we don't get paid until the end of the case, and we only get paid if we win.
800 numbers on the screen, whitleylawfirm.com, that's the website. Matthew Bissette, you're a North Carolina native. Tell me about your experience working with this firm.
I've loved it. And when I first started out, I've been working with Whitley Law Firm now for 3 years. I didn't really know what to expect, but I can honestly say, coming into work every day, working with Bob and Ben, and it is a battle. Every day is a battle, and I didn't know what it would be like, but now that I'm in it, I love it. Every single day we are representing individual North Carolinians, and we are taking the fight to the insurance companies, to the pharmaceutical companies. I can honestly say it has been an incredible 3 years, and we're going to continue doing it every single day.
Ben, we're talking about workers' compensation claims today, right?
Yeah. Workers' comp can be a tricky thing. A lot of attorneys won't do it. A lot of attorneys, because it's a complex practice area. And one of the things that I like to think about are just kind of right off the top of my head are 5 things that you need to know.
5 keys.
5 keys. And if I only get 4, just remind me. I got to have another one. But the main thing is, I see it all the time. Matthew and I see it all the time, is that people fail to give a written notice on their claim.
Okay.
And that's number 1. You get hurt at work, a lot of times people don't want to rock the boat, or they think they're not hurt. That usually happens a lot with back claims. So if you think about it, if you're working and your back hurts, but you've been working a long time, many years, and you've gone in and out of back claims before, and you just feel like it's going to go away or dissipate, and it doesn't. And if time has gone past a certain point, it becomes much more harder to link that up to the insurance company. So number 1 is report injuries, even if seemingly minor injuries.
Or even if you, like you're talking about, even if you don't feel pain right now,
right,
you might feel pain in 48 hours or in a week from now, right?
That's right.
Pain can show up at any time.
Pain can show up at any time. So it's just, the rule is 30 days written notice. And that can be done on paper, text message, email. 30 days written notice.
So a text message works?
Yeah, sure, it'll work. Just making sure that you get that notice in. That's number 1.
And that notice needs to go to your supervisor?
It needs to go to your supervisor.
Like the HR department? Or?
If you got a big company, but if it's a small company, it may be the guy who owns the company.
Okay.
But you just want something documented on the record that you have had an incident.
Okay.
That's number 1. And number 2 is not hiring an attorney. Now, sometimes, and I'm going to give a big asterisk to that, not all cases need attorneys. But if it's a serious case, you do need an attorney. If not us, someone as qualified, someone that has a board-certified attorneys in-house. Because what can happen, as I mentioned before earlier, workers' comp can be very complicated. Some attorneys don't do it, and I have had to take over files from attorneys that didn't do it, didn't know what they were doing, and they messed up the case. But an attorney can help guide an individual through this process of workers' compensation, even if it's an accepted case. So, and I also add another star to that. If you don't hire an attorney, just at least talk to one.
Okay. Yeah.
Get legal advice. We'll say it like that. Let's just get legal
and that's
advice.
Free, right?
It's free for us. Yeah. And most attorneys will. It's a free call as well to do that.
Yeah. And so simply pick up the phone, call the 800 number.
Right.
Hey, this is Joe, and I fell down at work today, and my back hurts. What do I do?
Exactly. We'll walk you through it. There's information online too. Number 3 is make sure you get your hidden claims.
What's a hidden claim?
Well, workers' compensation, in my view, has about 2 hidden claims. The first is mileage. When I say hidden claims, I mean the claims the insurance company's not telling you about. They don't have an obligation to call and offer you more money, even when it's the law. Mileage, anytime you drive more than 20 miles from your doctor's appointment, you can turn in mileage and be paid the government rate for that, but it's money. And the second one is, you always hear about the 7-day waiting period that you got to be out of work for before you get your checks. Well, if you're out of work for more than 30 days, they owe you that check for that week. And the insurance companies often won't call and tell you that.
Oh, okay. So they're only going to get you those 3 weeks. They're not going to get you all 4.
So hidden claims, ask about them. Ask your insurance adjuster about them if you don't have an attorney. Ask your attorney about them if you do have an attorney.
Okay.
To make sure that you get those completely under control.
Right.
Where are we, number 4?
We're coming up to number 4.
4, make sure you tell your doctor everything that hurts. A lot of times folks will go in with a fall, they'll have an incident, and their shoulder is what their primary acute issue is.
Yeah.
They hit their knee on something and it has a little bit of pain into it, but it's not as bad as their shoulder. So they're going to just dock the shoulder, the shoulder, the shoulder, and they forget about the knee. 3 months later, turns out it was actual knee injury, and the insurance company is going to argue and say, hey, you didn't, if it was that bad, why didn't you mention it before?
I got you.
That happens
Okay.
quite often.
Okay.
And then, where are we now? We're number 5.
Five.
5, settlements of claims. Sometimes having a workers' comp claim, it is better for you as a hurt individual to exit the system. Workers' compensation pays for your medical treatment, your wages while you're out of work.
Not all your wages, though.
Not all your wages, two-thirds of your wages while you're out of work. But they're in control of everything. They're telling you which doctors to go to. Sometimes they send the checks a week late. What do they care? Nobody likes to be under that thumb of the workers' comp claim.
Yeah.
Now, while you're being treated for a major injury, of course you want to stay in the system because they're paying for it.
Right.
And they're putting the money on the table so that you can provide for your family. But as it goes on and as you get closer to potential release return to work, it may make sense for you to settle the case. So these are things to discuss with your attorney
Okay.
if you have one.
Okay.
Things that you can also discuss with an adjuster if you have one.
Okay.
Although, remember, number 2, don't go it alone, or
go
at
it
least
alone.
get some legal advice.
And if someone is watching right now, they can go to the website, whitleylawfirm.com, and read all about workers' compensation.
Oh, absolutely.
It's all on the website, right?
Yeah, they can call me and we can talk about it. We can talk about it for as long as you want to. And we'll give folks advice about what to do.
Okay.
It was what I feel like makes us different.
We are going to take a short break, but we're going to come back with attorney Ann Oxner, and she's going to talk to us about bicycle injuries and traumatic brain injuries as well. So stay tuned. You're watching Attorneys on Call.